raise their hand because it wasn't clear to me what's going on for the Toastmaster. Michael, okay, excellent. I'm going to take 30 seconds to tell you something about the TLI and something else exciting. And then Mimi's going to take her 1 minute to jumpstart your enthusiasm. So my 15 seconds of fame is that I went to the TLI on the weekend, and I'll be going to another one on August 15th. We have one on the 28th if you want to attend that, and it's in a different district. The reason you want to attend a TLI, it's Toastmasters Leadership Institute. It is one of the most powerful things you can do for your career, whether it's your personal career or your corporate career or your employment career. And that said, right now, the Fortune 500 companies are putting Toastmasters in-house because they need the soft skills that Toastmasters offers. We happen to have one here with Ent, and I can tell you more about that on a presentation that I'm going to do. I did talk with the keynote speaker about engaging corporate members, and he has vast experience on that, and he's willing to come and give us a talk, and I'd like to invite him for our open house. He belongs to 11 clubs, has extraordinary experience worldwide, and travels the nation constantly to help develop corporate clubs. So I think it would be a really good shot in the arm for us. That said, take it away, Mimi, with your minute of education. We'll think of something that sounds, Mimi's minute of education, something like that. Take it away, Mimi.
Can you hear me now? Thumbs up? All right. So today our 1 minute of education is in regards to filler words. Filler words are something that we definitely have a thing about here, and the one we have in particular. So right now, really quick, look on your screen and look at the difference between filler sounds, filler phrases, and filler words, and which ones do you know for sure are in your vocabulary. So these are the words that we would like to avoid today and going forward. Now, oh, I did something wrong. I have also a list of words that we can use instead of using the word so, because I know it's definitely my demon, but we here around here, we so a lot. So really quick, here are some words if you want to screenshot this with your computer or with your phone. I don't know about you young people, you have to get back with me. I'll send it to you or something. But here are some words that we can use to transition from one sentence to another or from one idea to the other instead of using so or and or whatever your favorite filler word is. Thank you, Madam Queen President.
Thank you, Mimi, the motivator. I use a lot of those words. Ergo, I will now bring together our Toastmaster with our club to have a rousing, extraordinary meeting for Wednesday, August 4th. Take it away, Michael, Prince of Aragon, our Toastmaster for the day.
Thank you, Janet. Thank you. Today we're going to have a great meeting. Let's get right to our roles. And before we get to our first speaker by Miguel, I'm trying to juggle two screens here, looking back at my agenda, sorry. Our general evaluator for today will be Art. Art, will you please tell us what you will be doing as the GE of the day?
Greetings, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. The purpose of the general evaluator is to evaluate everything that takes place throughout the meeting. During the meeting, I will take notes on everything that happens and doesn't happen. I will evaluate each participant on the meeting program and look for good examples of preparation, organization, delivery, enthusiasm, observation, and performance of duties. At the end of the meeting, I will give my report. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Art. Next up, we have our timer for today. Janita, would you please tell us what you'll be doing as timer?
I will be timing everyone, every speech. I will have these cards. We'll give you your information, let you know when to shut up, and then I'll give a report at the end.
Nice. Thank you, Janita.
You're welcome.
We are missing an on counter. Would you like to be an on counter? Okay. Nathan, would you please tell us what you'll be doing today as on counter?
As all counter, I will be letting everybody know when they are using said filler words. I will try to depict which words are being used more frequently and give a report at the end of the meeting for everybody to improve.
Thank you, Nathan, for stepping up at the last second. And I'm going to go ahead and be the word master and say that I think that the word of the day is going to be ergo per Mimi's educational moment today.
Stall for a second.
You got to push, Paul. So because of Mimi's educational moment, the word of the day will be ergo. So I will be counting those uses of the words for that. And Sandy has stepped out, ergo, we will hold off on her evaluation for Miguel's speech. Ergo, she's coming back.
Ergo is now a filler word.
Yeah, I think that was incorrect.
Thank you very much.
Today, our first speaker will be Miguel.
Thank you.
Evaluating Miguel's speech will be none other than our very own Sandy Merrill. Sandy, would you please tell us about Miguel's speech?
Of course. Today, Miguel is going to be working from the persuasive influence path. He is working on understanding your leadership style. This project is designed to introduce the different styles of leadership and help identify his preferred style and to identify where he can adjust his primary leadership style to work with others. His speech is 5 to 7 minutes in length.
Thank you, Sandra. Our speaker
All right,
today.
I will take that as my cue, if that's okay with our Toastmaster.
Miguel, take it away.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Toastmaster. I was very curious walking into this how it would kind of look. Everywhere I go that has different leadership styles, that has different trainings on it, has different definitions, different ways it structures leadership and communicates the way that leadership works. I've been to several different trainings from different sales companies I've worked with. I've seen a lot of John Maxwell's trainings on leadership, on people skills. So walking into this again, I wasn't quite sure what it would look like. One thing I will say about the Toastmasters evaluation form, because doing this project, there is an evaluation that goes into it. It was a little bit, the test itself was not super in-depth, but the explanations behind all the leadership styles, I felt gave a really unique perspective for what I was able to see. So what I wanted to go over today was the strengths that I found, my top 3. I wanted to go over what I found interesting, what I kind of took away from that. I wanted to go over after that, kind of the bottom 3, what I found interesting about that, what I agree with, what I disagree with, and overall just a summary of what I was able to take away from that. So to give you guys an idea, my top 3 leadership styles, first was pace setting. And that's a matter of high performance from what I was able to tell. The second was authoritative. That's somebody who's very structured, who gives directions very well, is what I like to say instead of being bossy, because I'm kind of both. And the third was innovative, and that's finding unique solutions or unique ways of solving problems. The pace setting is something that I thought made a lot of sense for my personality. The test said that it is something that is very effective when working with self-motivated and highly skilled people. However, it is something that is a little bit less effective over a longer period of time where something is needed in a vision. That's something that I really found that spoke to me and made sense to me, because when I go to, for example, those of you who don't know, I do work part-time as a recording musician. I play a few different instruments. I've put in my 10,000 hours of work, And I normally only perform with very high performing musicians. And in that case, I have found that I don't get along with people who are more beginner or intermediate, just because I'm so used to working with professional musicians. Professional musicians, like we're working with professional musicians, and there's not a lot of collaboration. Usually it's a very clear goal and we all run for that. And that's something I see in my professional life, in my music life, and even when it comes to teaching dance to a certain degree. The next thing I saw was in authoritative, that it is very effective when change or change of direction or vision is required. And it's something that's less effective when explicit guidance is needed. And what that really means is it's something that works really well for somebody who's structured and can give direction, but it's less effective again with somebody who needs coaching or people who need to be developed a little bit more. With the innovative, it's most effective when solving complex problems or you're approaching something that's kind of new, but it seems to be less effective when the team is more apprehensive towards risk, which is something I don't feel is necessarily a challenge for me, because I'll take risks all day long as I know I can recover for them. I don't mind failing. I don't mind making myself look like an idiot in front of people at times, just because it comes so naturally to me. So I think people kind of expect at certain times for Miguel to be a little bit ridiculous at times. The thing that I found really interesting about these three together was it really speaks to where I'm at in my own life, my professional life. I do prefer to work with people who are more experienced, people who perform at a very high level. And while I do still have certain aspects of me that I like to train people, I like to help beginners, it's not necessarily my focus, my passion at this point in my life. Now, when I looked at my bottom three, I thought it's something that was very it was something that was very revealing to me, because it spoke to that as well. My absolute bottom one, my last leadership style was affiliative. And that's something that requires a lot more collaboration. It's something that's less effective with leader that has difficulty giving negative feedback. And it's most effective when it comes to increasing morale, repairing broken trust, or working through stressful circumstances. And I really see how that's kind of my weaker standpoint, because I've had so much experience with dealing with stressful situations that I don't necessarily respond to stress in a way that people see. And I found that it does help to calm some people down, but also causes other people to panic when they see crazy things are going on, and I just seem to have a level head. I think that comes across at times that it seems that I don't care, but really what it is, I don't feel like panicking helps. And that's something that maybe I don't do my best to communicate when I'm surrounded by team members. My second to last that I came up was the altruistic leadership style. That's something that can be very effective when you're working with people, trying to get people to collaborate, and it's less effective when there's not a longer time frame or a longer term goal in mind. And that's something that I find interesting as well, because I do have an ability to bring people together and help people see a main vision. The biggest challenge I've had with that in the past, though, is getting people to commit and just stick with things, because I'm so self-motivated. I'm not used to working with people that are like that. And even the coaching was something that I thought was interesting, because that came up as my third to last, and that requires a lot more attention to people. So overall, looking at this, I understand right now where I'm at in my leadership style, where I'm at in my life. I prefer working with high performers. And I have to be super conscious that at some point, if I'm working with beginners, I have to be able to change my leadership skills. And by going through this project, I know I need to keep an eye out. I need to make sure that what I'm doing is effective for the people around me. Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster. I will hand this back to you.
Thank you, Miguel. Now I think it's time for us to get our evaluations wrapped up and pass them on and message them to Miguel. Shanita, my friend, would you mind giving us a minute on the clock? looks like I'm getting the signal for it being a minute on the clock. Next up in our agenda is table topics. Our table topics master for today is none other than our very own resident queen of everything. Would you please give your attention to Ms. Janet Sellers?
Sorry.
You're muted, Janet.
Hooray was doing a great job and you couldn't hear me. One of the things that I think is a powerful skill, and we use it in table topics, is the skill of what we call soft skills. Hard skills are the skills that you learn in school. They're educated and they're things that you have parameters on. Soft skills have a little wiggle room. That would be management of people. That would be repairing relationships. That would be the kinds of things that you do within meetings or within interpersonal relationships. Those are pieces that are hugely needed right now in the Fortune 500 companies and elsewhere. And that's where Toastmasters is very powerful for each of us to be able to use. I've used my Toastmaster skills many, many times in some of the Chamber of Commerce mixers that I go to. I have, 30 seconds or 1 minute, and I can get out my message for the different places that I'm representing. I think that's really powerful. What I would like to do today, and if somebody does not want to do a table topics, raise your hand now, because I'd like to call on everybody. And I don't see any hands, so you're all fair game. First off, I would like for someone, I'm going to call on you. What if, when we have good practice in our meetings for this, you're in a meeting and the speaker is not able to come in and you're going to give the introduction for someone who can't show up. So I'm going to ask Mimi to give an introduction for Arturo on off the cuff. He's going to be pretending he's going to give a little talk, and Mimi's going to introduce him with what she does know about him in 30 seconds or 1 minute. I know this is a shock, but this is something that happens all the time. It happened to me for the last 4 days. So Mimi, please unmute yourself. What you know about Arturo, he's going to give a talk on his life in Ohio. And you're going to unmute yourself and give us a quick introduction, just using what you know, because you're treading water till the speaker floats in. Ready? Go.
Well, give us a round of applause for our presenter for today, Miss Madam Janet Sellers. So today I have the pleasure and the honor of introducing to you a phenomenal young man. He just so happens to be from my hometown of Ohio. Yes, as country as I sound, I'm from Ohio. But that's not the only thing that we have in common. Me and this guy have a lot in common. He likes to grow. He likes to develop. He evolves on purpose. He reads books. He listens to YouTube videos, and he is soaking up information at all times just to bring to us. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fur babies, please give a warm welcome. Open up your mind, open up your notebook, and get your pen ready, because Mr. Arturo is about to grace the stage and teach you something that you didn't know that you needed to know. Thank you.
Wonderful. Good job. Our next person that I'd like to call has not been here for a bit, but Nathan, I'm going to call on you. What I'd like for you to do, you're in a meeting and you're smoothing out some things from some people that have not been together in a meeting for a while, and you're going to pick one person. It could be anybody here in Toastmasters today or in the room where you are, and it's a kudos moment, meaning that you're going to give them some accolades for something that they've done or something that you know they've done. Now, in this case, because I'm calling on you out of the blue. You get to make it up or something you really know. Take it away, Nathan.
Thank you very much. One of the things that I really wanted to do is point the spotlight on Michael here. We have not been able to meet for a long time, and I'm actually wanting to give these kudos because you set apart a room for us to meet in. Even though it is just us three, this is the start of something beautiful. And I really do. The conference rooms here are all brand new and nobody knows how to run them. So when it comes to speakers and the camera and everything, the fact that you took it upon yourself to learn that, educate yourself, I really do want to give kudos, mad kudos.
Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I'm going to do that same thing, but I'm going to have Sandra do it for somebody here. And it can be anybody you choose. A kudos moment for someone in this pretend meeting that we have. Ready, go.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, Madam Presidente, Queen of everything. The kudos I wish to give really are for you. This year, you stepped up into a huge leadership role for this club. You are promoting the idea of us elevating ourselves so that we can support our fellow Toastmasters and clubmates by attending Toastmasters Leadership Institute, whether we are a club officer or not. You are promoting all of the benefits of the corporate club environment and how we can get this little room of three built back up to filling one of the beautiful training rooms that claim to seat 25 downstairs. We're going to experiment with that. So I want to tack onto the kudos for Michael in advance because he'll be helping us figure that out. So, you didn't know, but do you know where I learned the skill of just very casually volunteering people to do things in the middle of a sentence? It is from the Queen of Everything. She has shown me the way. And so I say to you, Janet, thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It's good to know you're in your new building. We learned a lot from your little kudos moment.
Did everybody lose Janet?
Okay, yes, I thought it was just me.
This is the problem with giving kudos, Michael, and then you broke it.
What you want to do. Then
Oh, there she is, she's back.
I was talking the whole time off of mute.
Well, you were froze. We only saw you like.
Oh, well, I hope I wasn't frowning. I was just
4 Oz and 3
returning the
Oz.
kudos to the group at Ent that they got into their new building and that they are cooking with gas, even though they don't exactly know where the switch is. So I appreciate that. Shanita, you're next. And this is a little different from the others, but you find yourself in a room waiting for a meeting to start. And the person you wanted most to speak with sits down next to you and you're thinking up the introduction for yourself and how you can engage them. Who is this person and what do you say for 30 seconds or 40 seconds? And unmute yourself so you can get going.
I don't understand that.
Okay.
The person is sitting next to me and what?
Okay, so this is the kudos moment table topics, and we're doing a corporate one. So we're pretending that you're sitting down in a meeting, you're the first one there, and the person you would most like to speak to sits down next to you. And you have this great opportunity before anybody gets there to talk to them. How do you introduce yourself and what do you talk about?
Hi. I am so honored to meet you. You know, I have been waiting years. I have admired you for so long. You know, the work that you have done has impressed upon me so much. It has caused so many changes in my life. I have grown from listening to you, taking your advice. Oh my God. It's awesome to meet you. Now, I'm Chanita Lynn, your friend, and you know, some of your work that's what really impressed me to actually get this Namgare or an alias, you know. I use Chanita Lynn, your friend, to describe my intentions when I meet people. Isn't that awesome? I got that from you. Thank you so much for your inspiration. Can I ask you for one small favor? Yeah. Can I have your autograph? Here you go. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh, I admire you so much. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And thanks for taking that off the top of your head. But you know, when we practice this stuff, that is going to happen. It just puts it in the universe motion. When we practice it in the mirror, and particularly with several people, just think about it, Chanita Lynn, your friend. You have 6 people focusing on your desire. You set that desire in motion. Now we got 6 people listening, and it's going on in our heads. I think that's great. In terms of time, do we have time for 1 or 2 more of table topics, Chanita Lynn, your friend, or do we need to stop and start our evaluation portion of the meeting?
Right now it is 12:33, and I think we have at least 5 to 6 minutes.
You should do one more.
Okay. I'll take that as a yes, and I'm going to ask Arturo if he'd be willing to do a table topics. I know we already have a speaker and a Toastmaster, but I'm going to, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot. Arturo, I'm going to give you the same one that we had for giving kudos in a meeting. It's a meeting where you'd like to put the spotlight on somebody who may not have shined before, and that you know, because you're in charge of the meeting, that you could give somebody an attaboy or an attagirl and not only lift their spirits, but let the whole meeting room know that that's a good thing to do. Everybody feels good when somebody gets an attaboy. Everybody feels like they got one too. So Arturo, take it away.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I would like to give my kudos to Miguel. Mimi pretty much gave me a shout out about me being a person of growth and always reading and being like a sponge that always is soaking wisdom and information to become the best version of myself. I've been with meetings with Miguel plenty of times already, and I'm starting to get to know him a little bit more. And as I get to know him a little bit more, I'm starting to realize that we're very alike. We're very similar. I was listening to his presentation today, and I can relate to a lot of how he is as a person, as a leader, how he always likes to be with people who are top performers, and how he can get annoyed sometimes when he's working with people who are amateurs or beginners or don't take the task as serious. So I just want to give him kudos for just being a person who's also a person of growth. He embraces being the best version of himself and doesn't stay complacent in life. He is all about becoming the best version of himself, and looks like he's always sharpening his skills to become the best of who he is. So here, Miguel just pretty much reminds me a lot of me. So kudos.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Arturo. We have, from my recollection, 5 people that gave table topics, and I'll repeat that. And you can put it in the chat, please, your vote to the table topics master, which is me, and we'll look at that. We had Mimi, who gave a talk of Ohio and Arturo, and she gave a presentation intro that she was stalling for time, and we had no clue she was stalling because it was such a good introduction. We just figured that was the start. I know Miguel knows this. There is something that you do before the concert. You have some warm-up groups. I forget what they're called, but that's what she was doing.
Janet,
All
you're
right.
frozen.
Oh, she is. She's the luckiest person I know. Everybody else freezes when they're doing something like
Truly.
yawning.
But I think, what's that? Did
Go
I
ahead,
miss
Janet.
somebody?
You froze for a second.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm actually a very warm person. I don't know why this is freezing. But I will tell you that, what did you hear last? And then I'll take up from there. Somebody let me know. Michael, what did you last hear me say? Who did I
I think you were saying you're telling us to send the boats your way, Janet.
And she was talking about a warm-up act.
I was just introducing the 5 people who gave table topics.
Go for it.
And did you hear any of it?
I don't think so.
Oh dear. Mimi talked about Ohio and Arturo, and she was filling in for a late speaker that was stuck at the railroad tracks, and she didn't even let us know that anything was wrong. She just made us feel like it was a really good pep talk. Nathan gave kudos to Michael for pulling together the meeting. Chinita, your friend, met her hero/heroine and got the autograph. Arturo gave kudos to Miguel for extraordinary leadership invitation, and Sandra gave kudos to Janet. And my screen is frozen. I don't know if it's mine. You guys are all frozen. Thankfully, you're all smiling.
We got it.
We heard everything.
Janet, do you have access to a chat we can send those to you for?
There's a chat at the bottom of your screen, and you just click on if you take your mouse and go to the screen, the chat will pop up, and then you can vote.
Perfect.
Hi.
Thanks. With that, if you don't mind, I'll hand it over to our general evaluator for the day to give us an evaluation on how we did. Please welcome Arturo.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. So we will start with our functionaries. So our first functionary will be Ms. Shanita. Ms. Shanita is our timer. How did we do today?
Excellent, excellent indeed. We only had one speaker today, and speaker took 6 minutes and 53 seconds to tell us all about his strengths in speaking. We appreciated that. And then we had table topics. Mimi, 1 minute and 6 seconds. Nathan, 53 seconds and 53 whatever. 53 seconds. Yeah. Sandy, 1 minute and 12 seconds. And I took 1.7 seconds, and Arturo 1.36 seconds. So that back to Nathan, he took 53 seconds, yeah. And that's all the timing that there is today.
Thank you, Ms. Shanita. Question here. I do see that Sandy is Miguel's evaluator. At what point will she have to go?
She's actually supposed to go first.
She's supposed to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, Miss Sandy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I would have been just as pleased had you had me give this evaluation after the counter. Except Miguel, it is easy to start with what you've excelled at on this speech. I love listening to people when they do the leadership style speech, because I like to know how they interpreted the Toastmasters point of view and how they gained some insight on themselves. Your insight into your own leadership style is fantastic. When you went through your top 3 and your bottom 3 and provided a little bit of your own input, and maybe what taking the quiz and determining your top 3 and bottom 3 really revealed to you, I think you really pulled the most you could out of this project from a Toastmasters point of view, and 3 is a magic number. So good choice on top and bottom 3. Combining the Toastmasters info with what you already know about yourself and finding some things that maybe you can work on in the future is really the purpose of going through this project. We want to see you. You should turn your camera on. That is one of the things to work on for next time. It is a lot easier to process what a person is saying when you can see their face, which I think is something we will all be super excited to meet in person and actually see each other and pick up the vibe in the room. As Mr. Pacesetter in your top 3, it may fit your leadership style, but it is something when you practice your speech you might want to work on. You did rush a little bit at first, or the connection wasn't very good and it made you sound rushed. I'm not sure which it was. But then you evened it out. Maybe you had a better idea of what you wanted to say and how you wanted to say it right in the middle of your speech. And towards the end, your pace was a little uneven again. I was wondering for a few minutes, when you were talking about your leadership style, you like working with more experienced people. You're not fond of working with people who are just beginners or amateurs. And I'm going to set beginner aside and completely separate from people who just don't care about what they're doing. I was thinking, did he take a moment to decide that he needs to learn how to work with beginners a little more? Because in life, we will have them. And towards the end of the speech, I really appreciated that you came back around to that, which really added to the organization of the speech, and mentioned that that is something that maybe you have to keep in mind is inevitable. And you should learn some techniques to work with it. So the organization of your speech was great. The delivery was great. And we always enjoy learning a little bit more about you. So thank you for sharing that with us, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Miss Sandy. That was a great evaluation. Our next functionary is going to be Mr. Nathan, our accounter. How did we do today?
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. We did very well. Awe actually isn't our issue, and I am clocking in another for Nathan. We used ergo too much. That one, used it 3 times. So even though it's not an actual filler word, any word can be used like a filler word. Our big contributors, ergo, ah, and you know. So that being said, I think that was on the what to say instead of filler words. I don't know. The winner was So I'm no longer the counter. I was the counter. Thank you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Mr. Nathan. Our next functionary is going to be Mr. Michael. He is Mr. Mike is the word of the day. How did we do today? And I know that Nathan pretty much he talked about the word of the day.
He
But
nailed me on
technically-
that one. I didn't hear any uses of the word of the day, though Nathan did catch me using it incorrectly a few times. Janet says I missed Janet, so we'll give the word of the day award to Miss Janet Sellers. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you. Overall, I'd like to give my report about the whole meeting. Overall, the meeting was great. Same with Nathan. I really admire how last minute you were able to fix the audio. That would have been very disappointing for us not to be able to hear you guys in that conference room. I like how Janet, she comes in and she always comes in with her, you never know what to expect from Janet, what she's going to bring to the table with her ideas. And I'm always intrigued by that. I did not know that about the nurses, that a traveling nurse can earn $100,000 per quarter. That really intrigued me. Makes me question my career a little bit. I would say that our Toastmaster, I like how you added the 1 minute. Sometimes people forget about that when after a speaker makes their speech, sometimes people forget to add the 1 minute, but you added it. Let's say the officer was prepared and organized. The meeting did start on time. Everyone was properly introduced. I wasn't really sure if there was a grammarian during this meeting. Let's see here. I like how you did send an email out, Mr. Toastmaster, to encourage people to sign up for roles. And also when it came down to the table topics, I like how Janet shared a little bit of the importance of how table topics can really play an important role in our everyday normal lives, because sometimes we don't know when we are expected to speak all of a sudden, and these table topic sessions really help us out in those situations, unexpected situations when we have to speak. Overall, I love the way the table topics was structured. That was really, it was new. It was very unique. It's not a very common one. I like that. So overall, everything was well. There was no theme to this meeting, but there doesn't always have to be a theme. But just wanted to share that. Overall, great. Glad to be part of this meeting. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Arturo. And thank you everyone who gave an evaluation. Next thing on our agenda is to hear the results of the table topics. We get a drum roll.
You guys are the only ones that we can hear the drum roll of, and the winner of today's table topics with the kudos moment is Nathan.
Woo!
Awesome. Congratulations. Here's your award.
Thank you.
And that's about the size of it. I will make one correction on the traveling nurse. A regular traveling nurse makes about 10 to 11,000 a month, and their per diem is paid for. It's the nurse anesthetist that's needed, and they make the top anyway. But it's a pile of money if you want to be a traveling nurse. The only reason I know that is my son's good friend is a traveling nurse, and she's socking it away. She's loving it. And she's going all over the country enjoying her 13 weeks of being a nurse in different places. So that's something. I want Nathan to be in the health field. I'm sorry, I know you're at the bank, but you put all those years in saving lives. I still believe in you. That said, I will return the table to our Toastmaster.
Thank you, Janet, for that. And that concludes my portion of the meeting. I will actually return it back to you to close out the meeting with Mimi.
Okay. I will give the meeting to Mimi, and she can determine whether she wants to have her portion now or after the official close of the meeting.
Thank you so much, Madam President. Since we have 10 minutes, I think it's enough time for us to slide in some roles for next week. So I will be moving over to easy speaking. I will not be able to see your faces or your hands. So you'll have to unmute yourselves to communicate with me. So I'm going to begin with our Toastmaster. Now, if there's somebody who's feeling like real itchy, forward and go right ahead. But otherwise, I'm going to ask first and foremost, Nathan, are you going to be here next week? You know, you kind of like, you come in, come out, you go. So I want to see, are you going to go in on us or go down next week?
That's fair, and I apologize for that. Unfortunately, I might not be able to.
No, so that way I know what to ask of you or not to ask of you. That's all I'm asking.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
Okay, so what I'll probably do is give you a lesser role. So in case that you cannot make it, it won't be like a type deal. Is that okay with you?
Sounds great.
All right. Is there anyone else who thinks that they may be absent next week? Going once, going twice. All right.
Can I get can you give me a suggestion of what role I should take? This is Janita. Sorry.
Okay, let me see what I have here.
While you're doing that, Mimi, Art raised his hand saying he might be absent.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so I first am looking for a Toastmaster. Those who have been, it's been a while on my list, I'm showing Nathan Miguel, then it would be Art, but Art said he might be absent. Sandy, are you gonna be here next week?
As far as I know,
Can you handle being Toastmaster next week?
I can handle it. I don't want to take it away from Miguel. I don't think he's had it recently.
Miguel, are you gonna be here next week?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I'm Toastmaster. I'll find the scene.
All right, all right. Okay, the next very important role is timer. So let me see what we have here. It's been a while, I think, since I've been timer. So I'll go ahead and put myself in for timer. Table topics master. Michael, will you be here next week?
Yes, I will.
Will you be table topics master, sir?
I would love to be Teo Topic Master.
Thank you so much. Great.
The desk.
All right, now let's look at some speakers. Who are we going to have speak next week?
Janet wants to, if there's space.
All right, you got it. Right. Who else is present that has not been called upon, or have I covered everyone?
Arturo is not sure if I'm going to be absent next week. If I am not absent, I want to be a speaker because I haven't been a speaker in a while.
Okay, so that's what we'll do, Janet, and as speakers. I'm not going to worry about evaluators just yet. I felt like the other functionary roles are more important. You can always do a round robin evaluation, which you get more juice out of anyhow. So in the meantime and in between time, if anything changes between now and next week, please reach out to me and let me know so we can make the necessary changes. But I believe I have, let me make sure that I have everybody correct and let me hit the save button, because I think that's what happens to me. I don't know. Sometimes it does not. See, that's what happens. It times me out. That's what it is. Okay, so let me write down what I said. So Janet's going to be a speaker. Art's going to be a speaker. Sandy is going to be Toastmaster. Who said there'd be timer? Oh, I think that was me. What? Let's see. Michael is going to do table topics. Nathan, I'm going to put you in as grammarian. And I think that's everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. All right. I am finished. I am complete. Back to you, Madam President.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for another splendid meeting. By the way, in the TLI, I told 130 people about looking us up on YouTube and how exciting and fun our meetings are compared to other YouTube. I look at YouTube and I say, they're a complete snore compared to us. We are a total talk show. Take a look at what we've been doing because it's exciting. And you couldn't believe how many people were writing it down so that they could run to YouTube and see us. No pressure, you guys. We just need to smile a lot, I think. That said, I look forward to seeing you next week. Remember, you are worth it. You are famous and you are on your way to greatness. And I thank you. The meeting is adjourned. Boom.